Okay, so today we'll talk about a company, but before that, I am genuinely wrong with my analysis, and you might just lose money if you listen to me. And this is just to document my understanding of the business. And YouTube is a place where I can store my knowledge and share with my uh, friends and family or somebody for free. Yeah. So going ahead, Dynamatic Technologies. Basic thesis is it's a Airbus play. Just a sec, let me take a disappointed. Yeah, so it's a Airbus business. There's this aerospace business that is already there, as well as a defense business. Then there's a startup inside it, which is making all this fantastic drones and a lot of things we'll discuss. There's a not so great business, hydraulic business, but still they're like a market leader, and it's a cyclical business which depends on the tractor sales. And then there's a metallurgy business, which is again not so nice business, but if the management is able to turn it, this could be a very one of a kind, what do you call it, business in the defense space again, uh, compared to say a solar industries or a premier explosives. Yeah, so very interesting. I went to the AGM and someone I deeply respect. I just asked him, like, look, it's so expensive. I mean, stock price is at 110, margins are so rock bottom. I mean, everything seems like priced in. All the good things are priced in, and all of that. And I don't know if there's any upside in the business. That was my point of view. And this is the price on 6th October. And someone I deeply respected, when I asked, what would this business be if it got listed in, say, the last 6 months? Uh, he asked me, and I I know. Then somebody said, you look at Azad and Unimec and other companies, and look at the valuation at which they're trading. This business, just with that aerospace part, and you completely ignored the other two, that should trade around 20 crores market cap. Imagine a situation where the management demerges the other crappy business and just keeps the aerospace and the startup Dynaton in it. And another person said, if I give roughly 4.5 crores, which is basically market cap, 4,500 crores, or maybe zero point 0.5 million uh, USD, I think. Yeah, can you replace the capabilities and the relationship that you have in the organization? Because uh, these aerospace industry is a deeply moated industry. The volumes are not high that the OEMs need a lot of suppliers, but the volumes are very critical, and hence the margins are very high. And a lot of these products are not done on automated systems like you would have in a automatic or automobile line. Large part of the processes involves machining, where you cut the material and you take out 90% of the metal. You do that so that your components are able to withstand the wear and tear, the pressure difference, because when your aeroplane is flying around 30,000 feet, the pressure difference is substantial, and that substance or the metal needs to fulfill that. So those are some of the criterias, and this kind of made me wonder how to look at the business which has high tailwind. And yeah, that's good. There have been some similar businesses where I've invested, but this also fits into that pattern. I mean, the biggest concern was there's no top line growth in the last 10 years. I mean, look at it; it's actually degrowth, and the cumulative interests paid was around 907 crores versus the cumulative cash flow in the last 10 years were 827 crores. Effectively, whatever cash these guys were generating, they were kind of paying debt with it. Yeah. And some this thing. Uh, so basically, they took bank debt to fund their capex and whatever the business looks like right now, and they typically work for the bank. And so they were a very good investing investment for a bank, not for the shareholders. However, it did return some money because of re-rating, but yeah, and all that has happened in the last decade, probably we'll get to see the benefits of it in the current decade. With and that's my thesis for the business. Two things that I highlighted what happened in the last 10 years. One was the misstep in the automotive segment, and they decided to invest in the automotive business. They went and acquired this Erla, and then they were developing turbochargers, and management, or even the world, even companies as big as Bosch decided that or they understood that, look, diesels are clean. I mean, the air that comes out of a diesel is cleaner than the atmosphere, and they were happy. But there was this Dieselgate from Volkswagen, and the entire business sort of died, and it was a drag on profit and loss making venture. And since it was in Germany, the costs were also very high. Similarly, in UK, I mean, the UK hydraulic operation, it suffered significantly, especially post-COVID. Supplier disruptions and then high operational cost of structure. And the UK hydraulic operation was subsidizing the hydraulic business globally, making the division unprofitable. And the management noted that it was necessary to cut the operating costs and by moving production back. And by quarter 4, the management guided in the AGM that around, I think, 10, 30 crores will start flowing annually uh, in the EBITDA. So that's kind of good. So yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things, but what happened good was their defense and aerospace business, which used to be 5% a decade back, maybe 10, 11, that became 43% of the business. So 5 to 43, almost 10x jump. Hydraulic business stayed where it was, and metallurgy business sort of stayed where it is. I think it degrowed actually. So from the not as a percentage of sales, but as a number volume. So it was around that 450 crores, and metallurgy or automotive business was also in that level. Yeah, and this is the breakup. Uh, just to quickly go into the aerospace, you have Airbus, Boeing, HAL, DRDO, and indigenous ones, and Dassault. So for Airbus, there's this A320 flap track beam, A330, and A220 door, which is basically the more interesting part of the business and where the volumes are going to come and the future revenue is going to come. And these are and A320 and 330, these are places where the management said that they are doing a lot of indigenous or redesigning activities, which reduces the amount of assemblies that need, and possibly because of regulation certification, if Airbus goes ahead with the suggestions from Dynamatic, it could be possible that these could open up new businesses, and that could also be huge. Uh, with the Airbus, they are in the commercial plane, passenger plane and commercial plane. With Boeing, they are in the defense program, so they don't want to have contradiction or conflict of interest. They are in the P-81 program, F-15, Chinook, and Bell helicopters. Now, the management did not give me any indication how much could be the value of coming from here, or what is the future growth that is there, but they were very optimistic about it. And in the plant visit, we could see a lot of excitement amongst the people who were showing us the plant, and some of their products were in the FAI phase. So yeah, for HAL, they did the LCA Tejas, Sukhoi, Lakshya, HJT, and if ACMA comes there also, they'll have some play. For Dassault, they make this rear fuel tank fuselage section, over here. So I mean, in the aerospace area, probably these guys are a very, very good structural player. And there's a colleague of mine or a connect of mine who said that they might just be the best in the country when it comes to structural capabilities. And the question remains, how much will you give for such capabilities and relationship and order book in this sort of business? By the way, for the Airbus, they have around a 10 years roadmap, or 10, 12 years of order book with them. So every year they'll do like around 60 million USD. Some parts will come from Sansera and Equus, but they'll have a lot of value addition. And another very interesting thing in the Airbus section, they are ahead of time. So all the jigs and fixtures, they got it from some competitive from some other company who was selling those fixtures. They brought it in house and then remodified it, and they are right over there, right on track. Yeah. Now for the hydraulic business, again they are into gear pumps, hand pumps, turbochargers, cast iron pumps, some battle tank components, and draft control tractor things. Now, this business has been a drag because of the costs of operating this in Europe. But company says that, the son of the MD, he sorry, not son, the daughter of the MD is going to bring all that facility to India, and They are going to operate this entire division from India. Aspirationally, there's not much capital infusion that will happen other than the shifting, and they'll probably reach a 500 crore market cap because anyways it's a mature area and they are anyways the leader. So 500 crore top line, sorry, with a EBITDA level margin of around 20% aspirationally, but let's take a smaller number, maybe 15% once they use Indian facilities. So that's, and then there's this automotive or metallurgy segment. Now, how it worked were they acquired a company, Eisenwerk Erla in Germany, and they let go of the automotive business because turbochargers and all of these things are not there. But they have great capability with respect to casting because there's foundry and all of those things, complex casting and all. And they had key clients like Audi, BMW, Daimler, Volkswagen. Now the company is pivoting towards high margin products and aerospace casting. And this is where they can generate a lot of value because they can get into defense, uh, what do you call shells. We'll talk about that. And somewhere, as per the management, the location of Erla sort of helps them to get into all this defense related activities, shell casting as well as filling of material. And this could be almost a $0.5 billion business, so around 5,000 crores top line business if it takes place. And something similar to us, Premier Explosives or a Solar Industries. Now, some of the triggers that will kind of drive growth. So door assembly, and then there's this inauguration line for a Deutsche aircraft. This thing and this thing is has gone for FAI tests. So these are all jigs in which the components are placed. This is also a jig. Dassault Falcon 6X rear fuel tank. Again, the interesting part is about this industry is that in the West, you have a lot of automation, you have a lot of machines, you have a lot of service people who cater to the defects in the machine, but you don't have skilled manpower. I mean, that's increasingly declining. So it's declining at a very fast rate. In India, you have a lot of manpower, and the skill of the manpower is improving substantially. And so the hybrid thing works. You get material from Europe, America, machine it over there, and bring it over here and do all the labor intensive activities. And this is a very, very labor intensive activity. It's almost sorry. Okay, around sorry. So this is a very labor intensive activity, around 5,000 uh, man hour. Then you have the defense and aerospace casting, which is again like a 120 millimeter completed shell. The opportunity is zero point 0.5 billion cost. Sorry, the opportunity can be zero point 0.5 billion USD, but we don't know of the timeline. Some numbers. So unit cost of casting is 75 euros per shell, and if they are also in the filling and delivery filling process, then they can reach to 1,000 per shell. So a base case could be 500,000 shell, could be around 375 crores, where they just don't do anything, just make this shell, cast this shell. Yeah, and also this mine that they talk about is interesting. So in the startup part of it, they have all this uh, Katil, Kawa, Cheel, and Patang. These are some drones for various application. They're not selling, but then there is a demand, and seems like the company has knowledge of the software and the hardware, and they've been doing this for the last say 10 years actually. So that's been in their roadmap, and they wanted to make it indigenous. So 70-80% is indigenous. So they definitely get a benefit if there is a sudden demand or spike of demand. Definitely they get a benefit of it. So yeah. They also have some uh, exposure to electronics, so they make this autopilot, this thing, controller where you don't, even if there's a signal jammer, it can go complete its mission. Ground control station, power distribution station, and some, uh, systems, so that you can have an integrated system from where you can do this, do your whatever you need to do. Then there's this gimbal and video processing unit for long distance imaging. So that's kind of with the day and night camera, it can. take images of 20 kilometer, and it has a range of 200 kilometer. So not a bad system, and definitely worth some value. Now, before we get into the valuation part of it, I just want to look at the chart. So it has kind of consolidated for the last 2 years, and it's gone nowhere. And there's also some volume over here. So maybe folks are accumulating. I saw a lot of value investor in the AGM, and they have asked really, really deep question, taking a view of the next 5 to 10 years. So yeah. So now in valuation, I want to be directionally right. I don't want to be uh, exactly right, or I don't want to be precisely wrong. What I did was, and bear with me, I just put it all in an Excel and tried to see what is the how much can I make if I invest today, yeah. And if some things, not everything, some things fire in the next say 2 years, 2 to 3 years. So aerospace 600 crores business that is probably getting another 540 crores and some idhar udhar. So typically 1200 crores if it creates a top line. Uh, so Airbus 220 orders and others, and you give it a 6 times multiple because it's an aerospace and defense business. You should, I mean, the peers are trading at 22 times, 18 to 22 times price to sales, uh, and then that comes down to 7,200 crores, right? And we know this order is coming. I mean, there's no question. I mean, this we saw the facility, everything is there. For the hydraulic business, I mean, 463 crore, maybe it reaches a 500 crore. But even if you put in like 400 crore, right? I don't even care about that. So even if I put a 400 crores, sort of a top line, that there's degrowth, and you give it like a 2 times sales because they are the leader and they have all capability, and no business, I don't think any business will be sold below 2 times sales. So that kind of gives you a 800 crores sort of a market cap. Then their metallurgy business. Now in the metallurgy business, they are already doing a 336 crores, and it might improve, probably, I'm not sure. But with this metallurgy division, you play the rearmament of Europe. And if the management is able to add like 200 crores of shell manufacturing in the next few years, it should typically get a 3 times, at least 3 times price to sales. If I just quickly try to open just this way, sorry, Dragon Ball, solar, yes, solar industries. So solar industries trades at 16 times price to sales, and Premier Explosive sales at 7.42 times price to sales. Okay, so I mean, if I give it like three, I don't even go 7, and maybe instead of 200, I go down to 100. I'm being even more conservative. Still, there's, I mean, 3 times. This is the thing, and just a second. Yeah, okay. And then for the Dynaton, if they are able to do 100 crores only of top line, this business should get at least 10 times sales because of the capability that is there, right? Capability wise, they're immense. I mean, even if they do 100 crores of business. However, these munitions, India is importing each of them for $100 million, single piece. And we are just considering that they'll do a business of 10 crore, 10 million, right? Not even, not so large. And there are a couple of triggers. So if we consider that, my total sum, I mean, the market cap it should trade at is 10,000 crore. And if I take a price to sales, it's like 4.83. So we are not paying egregiously high. I mean, even if I take this business as zero, I still make a 41% CAGR. That's like decent. If I, yeah, I mean, and if things fire, then who knows? I mean, if you make like a 200 crore sort of a business from here, and in your metallurgy, as my hypothesis, around 200 crores, and this business can be a 10x actually. And in your hydraulic business, you keep as it is, or maybe you keep it at 500, maybe 400. Yeah, no problem. So then your CAGR sort of improves. EBITDA level, what I considered were aerospace makes like around 20% margin, hydraulic Aspirationally, they said 15 or 20% margin, but I took 15%. If you want, you can take 10%. Um, Metallurgy, again, 10% margin because I don't have the exact idea, but the company shouldn't do business if they're not expecting at least 10% EBITDA level margins, right? And Dynaton, I'm expecting they are going to do loss. So even with that, they come to an EBITDA of 323, right? And current EBITDA is, sorry, I forgot to put it. Hmm, Current EBITDA comes down to 160. Yeah. So, so that's kind of doubling of EBITDA. Yeah, in EBITDA level, it just doubles over here. Again, I mean, I just take a valuation, SOTP valuation, like you pay 35 times for the aerospace business, sort of, 20 times for hydraulic, 30 times for the metallurgy business, and then on basically it's loss. So that also comes down to a 10,000 crore market cap, right? And if I take the other income, which is at 23, sorry, somebody's bugging me. Yeah, if I take other income that is at 23, interest at 57, and depreciation at 69, I'm not putting any mind work in it. Whatever was FY25 value, if I just put it, your PBT level comes down to 20 crores, and then you take out 55 crores of tax, you end up at 165 crores. These sort of business in the aerospace and defense space should trade at 50 times. So kind of 8,000 crores. So probably the worst case scenario is like a 33% CAGR, right? So yeah, I mean, if I look that way, it feels like a very, very interesting and low risk reward. I mean, low risk, high reward sort of a game. And this is the type of business which can probably become a 10, 15x over 10 years. So let's see where the market takes in terms of valuation, because from a business point of view, they are really high quality. Chalo, bye bye.